everyone, I'm Michaela Kathleen, and in this video I'm going to be playing Bookish Would You Rather. So jumping right in, the first one is, would you rather be the hero or be the villain? And this one, it kind of depends. Like, actually, if I'm like just in the book, living out the world, I would be the hero. Or I would want to be the hero. But playing villains like in plays and stuff is actually way more fun than playing the hero. And so in that sense, like if you're just pretending to be the villain, I do see the appeal of that. It's a lot of fun. Number 2 is, would you rather have unlimited books or live in a book? And I would definitely want to live in a book. I think that would be really fun, although also probably really stressful because people in books usually have lots of problems. But definitely would be picking a fantasy world, and that would be cool. Number 3, would you rather live in a classic romance or a modern romance? And this feels like a no-brainer to me, like obviously a modern romance. Like, I don't think it was really that great back in the day for the women. So I'm gonna go modern romance. Some of the fashion in the classic romances are fun, but I wouldn't want to have to wear that fashion every single day. Not really a dress everyday kind of person. Question number 4 is, would you rather have a dragon or a unicorn? And I gotta go with dragon here because then I could fly around with my dragon, and I really like flying. Question number 5 is, would you rather have to try to survive a fantasy war or a dystopian war? And I'm gonna go with fantasy war because then I get to live in a fantasy world, and also I feel like in fantasy wars there's maybe at least some happiness like outside of the war / like before the war, whereas a dystopian war, you're just living in a terrible, terrible world. Number 6, would you rather live in a fantasy book or a sci-fi book? And for me, this one's a no-brainer again. Definitely fantasy all the way. I'm not really a big fan of sci-fi. And so yeah, I would want to live in a fantasy book. And then also I suppose you could just look at it as, would you rather have magic or super cool tech? And I would rather have magic. Although there is some pretty cool tech out there. I really like the hoverboards from the Uglies series. But if I'm in a fantasy world, I can just fly a broom. Number 7, would you rather be under the Imperio curse from Harry Potter for 1 week or the Crucio curse from Harry Potter for 1 hour? Which Imperio is someone controlling everything you do, and Crucio is a torture spell, for those that don't know. And I'm a wuss about pain, so I'm definitely going with Imperio for a week. Number 8, who would you rather have as your best friend? Sam from Lord of the Rings or Ron from Harry Potter? And I've got to go with Sam from Lord of the Rings. I think he's a little bit of the more steady friend. Although Ron is very funny, so there's that. Number 9, would you rather live in the Shire from Lord of the Rings or Hogwarts from Harry Potter? And this one is definitely Hogwarts from Harry Potter. I would love exploring the castle. That would be such a good time. Hogwarts is my home anyways, so gotta go with Hogwarts. Number 10, would you rather meet an author and have them be rude to you, or meet an author and do something really embarrassing in front of them? And this is a tough one. Both would be terrible, but I think I would rather embarrass myself in front of an author because I feel like rudeness is like a more intentional thing and it would be directed at me, whereas embarrassment, I think, is more accidental, and so we could all get over it. Although I probably would beat myself up about it, whatever I did. Question number 11, would you rather have a book with a good main character but a boring love interest, or a book with a boring main character but a good love interest? And I'd rather have the good main character and the boring love interest because I'm not really there for the love interest anyways. Like, it's nice if a book has a good, interesting love interest, but I'm really there for the main character, so I'd rather the main character be good. Question number 12, would you rather read an okay book with a really great ending or a great book with a really disappointing ending? And I'd rather read an okay book with a really great ending. I feel like a good ending, especially if there's like a really good twist at the end that was maybe set up earlier in the book, although apparently this book is only okay at the beginning, but I feel like that is more enjoyable, that jolt at the end of like, oh my gosh, what a great ending, than to have a good book but be really disappointed by the ending and let down. Question number 13. Would you rather have to always watch the movie adaptation before reading the book, or never be able to watch any movie adaptations at all? And I don't mind a lot of the time watching movie adaptations before reading the books. I'm always pretty behind on books anyways, so this just sort of naturally happens a lot. So I'm gonna go with always having to watch the movie adaptation first rather than not getting to watch them at all. Question number 14, would you rather have a morning reading session or an evening reading session? And I've got to go with a morning reading session. I am a morning person. I almost never read before bed, so definitely a morning reading session for me. Question number 15, would you rather have a bad movie adaptation of a book or no movie adaptation at all? And again, I'm kind of going to go with bad movie adaptation because it's still at least going to be interesting and I'll still be excited to watch it. And I don't know, I just think of some of my least favorite movie adaptations and I'm still glad that I got to watch them anyways. And like, I still have watched some of them more than once, like the Aragon movie adaptation is a dumpster fire, but I've watched it like at least maybe like 4 or 5 times. So I think I'd rather have bad adaptation than none at all, honestly. Question number 16, would you rather only be able to read classics or only new releases? And I'm not a big classics reader, so definitely new releases all the way for me. Question number 17, would you rather only be able to read your least favorite book or never read at all again? And this is a tough one because I think about like some of my least favorite books. I don't know if I really would know what my very least favorite book was, but I think of some of my least favorites, ones that actually like actively kind of annoyed me, and I don't know if I would want to read them, but at the same time I can't imagine not reading at all. So maybe I would read the book that I hate the most just to be able to read. I don't know. This is a tough one. I'm gonna go with maybe I would not read at all, and I would just have to replace reading with other things like copious amounts of TV. Question number 18. Would you rather only be able to read books by your favorite author or be able to read all the other books in existence but never allowed to read the books by your favorite author? Another kind of tough one. My favorite author, if we're wanting to apply this very specifically to me, is John Green, which would be fairly limiting because he only has 5 books that he has written on his own. He has some books that he's written with other people and he's in like some anthologies, but only 5 that are actually like just his. So that's pretty limiting. So I think I unfortunately would have to go with being able to read all other books and not John Green books, but that would really suck. It'd be nice if I had a favorite author with maybe a bigger catalog, like a Stephen King or something, but I don't. Number 19, getting to the end here, zooming through. Would you rather have dinner with your favorite author or your favorite character? Which, as we just discussed, my favorite author is John Green, and I do like him a lot outside of his books. I like his YouTube, his podcasts, all that. He seems like a super cool guy. Would totally love to have dinner with him. But the idea of being able to have dinner with a fictional character is so intriguing that I don't think anyone could pass that up, right? But thinking about that, again, I don't know if I could just pick one favorite character. So I don't even really know for sure who I would have dinner with if I picked my favorite character. Maybe Hermione? I don't know who I would pick. There's a lot of characters out there. So I'm gonna go with my favorite character, but then also acknowledge that I don't even know who that is. And final question, question number 20. Would you rather only reread books you have already read or only read new books? Which is another hard one because I'm a big rereader and I have read quite a few books, so I have a decent sized amount of books to work with, unlike that only reading your favorite author question. So that makes it a little more tough because like I can't imagine not being able to reread some of my favorite books, like never rereading any of my top 10 again sounds terrible. I would never read any new books if I picked that, which is also terrible. But I do feel like if you only read books once, you're not gonna remember them anyways. Like, for example, I'm reading the Shadow and Bone trilogy right now. I read Six of Crows last year, and reading Shadow and Bone makes me realize how much I have already forgot from Six of Crows in just 1 year. So yeah, that makes it even more tough. Is there any point to only reading books once? I don't know. But in the end, I think maybe I have to go with only reading new books. Maybe I can cheat a little and rewatch movie adaptions a bunch of times. Not quite the same thing, but it would at least balance it out a little bit. So with that slightly cheating final answer, it is time for the quote for today's video from a book that I have reread many times. And that is Inkheart by Cornelia Funk. We're on a bit of an Inkheart phase with the last few quotes at the ends of these videos. But this one goes, "The world was a terrible place, cruel, pitiless, dark as a bad dream, not a good place to live in. Only in books could you find pity, comfort, happiness, and love. Books loved anyone who opened them. They gave you security and friendship, and didn't ask for anything in return. They never went away. Never. Even when you treated them badly." Thanks for watching. Remember, words matter.